An ancient skeleton, Kennewick Man, was found on the banks of the Columbia River in America's Washington state. This 9,000-year-old discovery became the topic of many controversial debates. Debates that I don't even think really matter. The amount of mistreatment, deceit, and setbacks Native Americans have experienced at the hands of white Americans pushes me towards siding with the Native Americans on this debate. Yes, of course, there are things one can learn from studying Kennewick Man's remains, but what exactly do scientists want to know? And what possibly could they stand to learn from this finding as opposed to all other research done on other discoveries? If it's a question of morals, hands down, I have to give it to the Native Americans. Okay, so what if Kennewick Man has no Indian backing? What do scientists stand to lose? However, if it is valid that Kennewick Man is of Native American descent and his people are hindered in seeing to following proper cultural burial, who loses more? I want to touch on some of the concepts that helped me get to my decision of siding with the Native Americans. Let's start with race and science. Chapter 4 of Skull Wars discusses a three-part split of civilizations. There's civilized, barbarians, and monstrous. How could such a division benefit a nation? All this division did was set the precedent for the need to confirm which race would turn out on top. The need to back up these classifications proved to be very difficult for scientists to prove. So much so, the doctor riots ensued. And why? In 1788, New Yorkers rioted for 3 days after resurrectionists were forced to take refuge after being caught grave robbing. I can't say that these acts are moral in any fashion. I honestly don't find any specific benefit to a division such as this. Do you? Secondly, let's talk about first Americans' origins. When considering the origins of the first Americans, we had the chance to discuss varied opinions when it came to the discovery of what could have been weapons from a people, who scientists suggested were inhabitants of this poor land prior to the American Indians. As hard as researchers tried, there wasn't any solid proof to confirm that there were inhabitants other than the Native Americans. The only thing I gathered from those findings was that scientists are willing to say anything to make you believe the hypothesis they have suggested. Thirdly, we have Indian assimilation. Skull Wars, Chapter 12, discusses the new territory should be transformed with the American psyche in mind. Such transformations led to the initiatives to assimilate Native Americans into the white culture. Week 9's assignment had us view the documentary In the White Man's Image. The documentary shed light on the extreme measures taken to assimilate American Indians into white culture. American children were ripped from their home and brought to a school so they could learn how to be white. Many left the school feeling so disconnected from their people and even went through great measures to reconnect, stripping away an individual from their homeland and culture with the intention to rebrand this individual doesn't seem like a moral gesture to me. Fourthly, let's talk about identity and ancestry. Both Kroeber and Boas argued that racial heritage did not matter as much as learned culture. However, in Chapter 18 of Skull Wars, with a move from one area to another, Arthur Parker maintained a strong connection to his Indian roots. After his move at 11 years old, Parker was still very connected to his Indian heritage and wanted to share that with the entire white world. The legal processes set forth by NAGPRA seemed to be a way to finally settle all disputes. Unfortunately, it wasn't that easy. Determining cultural affiliation proved to be an extremely difficult task. In conclusion, no matter what breakthroughs come from anthropologists' research, one question still remains unanswered. Who was here first? At the end of the day, does it even matter? My question is, why is that important to know? At this point, many have come to know the American Indians as the first settlers here. What good would come from disproving that? The limited benefits that Native Americans get from the government would be taken away. Perhaps, but then what? Thank you for watching.